Rome in 2 days. You know what, people? Lay off more money and don't take advantage of it. Live something like that. Do it well or not. I have been to Rome twice, 10 days each time, and I still don't know that city. It's not a city for 2 days. Everything is important there. Maybe for someone who didn't go to school, but it was everything from that place on lessons. Different, but was. I also admit that I attended the canonization of John Paul II with my ex-husband. Why? Because it was historic event. We had 2 popes celebrating a mass and 2 living for the second time in the centuries without schism. An extraordinary event. There are also events in history worth participating in regardless of one's views, because they are remembered in history. This was it. 4 papal basilicas. San Paolo, fuori, Mura, which is the least fortunate of 10 smokes. There is a grave of San Paolo. Next to it stands the only original ancient pyramid in Europe. Actually, for me, it's the favorite papal basilica. Santa Maria Maggiore, with the relics of the Lord Manger, associated with Christmas, where is the famous unique icon of Western churches, Salus Populi Romani, for me as well, very important. It doesn't matter what I believe. What matters is what someone believes and what it served, created over the years. The Vatican and Vatican museums, the Laocoon group, to which we owe the Baroque. It was inspiration. The most important sculptures of the Caesars, works of art, Attis, who cut his genitalia in the name of love. He would be always my favorite. I love that story. The Pieta, Bernini colonnade, the tomb of the last Scottish kings, James Edward Stewart and Marie Clementine Sobieski Stewart. The Lateran, the original seat of Pope, with its holy staircase and enormous sculptures of apostles. Castle of Sant'Angelo, a fortress connected underground to the Vatican, very important in the Second World War, where were hidden people. Many beautiful fresks. It is as well Mausoleum of Hadrian, Santa Maria Vittoria, a Czech church with works by Bernini. The Villa Borghese of Napoleon's sister Paolina Borghese, a famous nymphomaniac. She harmed her brother more than she helped him with his reign, but he loved her so much. The mausoleum of the first Caesar, Augustus, on the Campus Martius. Unfortunately, it's neglected. It's unfortunate, but no one is renovating it, which is a little shame. Is a project of that, but sincerely about that renovation, Rome thinks since 19th century, so can be a problem. Piazza del Popolo, with the obelisk of Rames II and the statue of the goddess of Rome, Dea Roma. Yep, Roma is a woman, so Rome is a woman. Il Gesù, the first Baroque building in history, symbolic of a counter-reformation and absolutism. It was here that the foundation of a powerful system were born. The Sacra di Argentina, or Sacra di Argentina actually, and maybe restaurants with fragments of Pompey's theater, with it in walls. This is where Caesar was assassinated, not in Parliament as many things, but there. The area sacra is a cat shelter. People bring food there for stray cats, and they are allowed to live there since many ages. Bocca da Verita, the oldest monument its creator actually is unknown. We know that it's before Rome, but if we speak about Celtics, we speak about Etrusc, it is difficult to still science hadn't agree about. The Forumbarium, the best preserved ancient buildings of Rome. Piazza Navona with its enormous Borromini fountains, Castel Gandolfo, a charming town besides Rome. On the lake, Appia Antica with the famous Quo Vadis scene. The footprints of Jesus in the Quo Vadis church are not original. They were moved to San Sebastiano because people touched them too often and they began to deteriorate. These are curiosities, even if we don't believe in it. Thanks to this, for example, a Nobel Prize winning book, which has been adapted into several movies, was written. In San Sebastiano, a sculpture of Jesus created by Bernini. Circus Maximus, Mamertine, a prison where Vercingetorix, the first ruler of the French Gauls, was held, as were San Paolo and Peter. Unfortunately, it was destroyed several years ago by an earthquake, actually, not by earthquake, but by damage which made earthquake several years ago and walls. The Capitol with the famous dying Gaul, many for sure. In that age, the stubborn Frenchman will certainly do not nothing to rise and stand when it was famous and it was time for sculptor. Now we will be on the ground. As well, many other famous paintings, statues, bust of Commodus, famous statue of Marcus Aurelius, and as well there is the original Capitolona, the she-wolf with Romulus and Remus. Paradoxally, the defenestration of Fagel brought more to the people than the French Revolution. It brought nothing, although they supported otherwise the massacre and just it. The perfectly preserved path of Caracalla, where you can see the system of pipes heating the walls and floors. This is the first heating system in the history. And Caracalla give everyone citizenship of Rome. He changed that as well for Barbaricum. Santa Croce with the relics of the cross. We have many that type of relics, so probably could be 10 crosses in the world, but the decorations are beautiful. Trinita dei Monti, no one visit with interesting French church on the top. In Rome, every country has its own church and its representative, let's say, ambassador, as it were. That's why I say Czech French. Rome is not only the Pantheon, the Colosseum, the Forum Romanum, the Vatican, the Fontana di Trevi, the Campidoglio, the Square Forum Romanum for those who take photos but don't know what they do actually. But Fontana di Trevi may disappoint you because it's squeezed into a small square, but the Navona and the Popola will cheer you up. Christians were killed in Pompeii Theater than in Colosseum anyway. There are plenty of places here. The Colossus of Constantine resembled in last year. A beautiful zoo as well. Milea Doria. You really have to walk here to stay, here to say you have visited Rome. Unfortunately, you can't take private photos in the Sistine Chapel. It's a part of Vatican museums. There is always something here new to discover in that city. There is as well poverty, dirty, but you have to see it and it will leave a good impression anyway. For me, it left a good impression. Paris, for example, didn't. Study good book, check routes, ways, and do it on your own. A city with minimal thinking about safety is possible to do on your own and have great memories, not run like a stroke. Here, Italian use other languages, they speak other languages. In other places can be worse, and Italian would be need, but here it's not such big problem.